against me.
Well, you want to hit on Collins real quick? That did look like a guy who could make a difference here, possibly energy-wise, especially.
Who, Collins?
Yeah.
Again, the issue with Collins isn't his talent and his ability. The issue with Collins is, are you bringing him in here and then paying him?
Why not?
You know?
If it's not Vucevic, I think you go after a guy.
Assets, and then you have to pay him a ton of money.
Oh, you love the assets, John, don't you?
I'm saying you're giving away everything you've got, and then you're signing him potentially to a Jaylen Brown max level deal, and that's it. That's your team.
Right. So
what else are you gonna do?
That's your team for the foreseeable future.
To a degree. I at least posed the question yesterday: is it better than not doing it? That's a hard one to answer. But Jimmy, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's not only your team for. You're not saying that's your team for this year. I mean, you've pretty much sold your soul for this team for the next few years. So you better hope that Collins is good enough to put you as a title contender, because you're not going to have any assets to make any other trades.
What do you think of him tonight?
What I said last night is that a championship team? Is that 100% going to win a championship? You know, if it is, then you do it. If you're not quite sure,
I mean, 100%, hell no, not 100%, no chance. I mean, it makes you competitive, but again, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know a ton about John Collins. I know that he's a big man who can stretch the floor and shoot and rebound. He played well tonight. I wasn't blown away by him by any stretch of imagination. I like him. I think he's nice, but I'm not as worried about the money. You have to do everything you can to get this guy. I'm not like there.
I'm not as worried about the money as some people, because this is your last chance to sign a max contract player. Circle this out at 4. We were all going to bring Hayward back, so we were willing to sign 4 guys to a max deal at once. So now it's going to be somebody else, and Collins isn't Hayward, but he's young.
But pretend it was Horford. Pretend it was Collins instead of Horford. You know, theoretically.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, let's say you re-signed Horford last year, or when you had the option to, and he's on the books for what you have now. Would you theoretically prefer a Collins to a Horford? You know, like,
right now,
of course. So that's what I'm saying is it's not the worst use of money. It just is. You are what you are there. You know.
It's the assets aspect too. So is Pritchard and Rob, are those 2 guys gone? And then are you giving away like 2 picks? Like, so it's a little bit more than the money. If it's just about the money, then sure, of course. I mean, Thompson's going to get paid. Someone's going to pay him, and I mean, he's better than anyone you already have. Yeah. So
and
I get that.
He is, so people know here, he is restricted. It's not half a season. He's restricted, which means you
can keep him.
You can keep him if you want him. It's just whether you want him. You just got to pay him. That's the key. And maybe it's not. Maybe he's overstating. I don't know if you get somebody else with an offer. I don't know. I don't know if you necessarily have to go the full Jaylen on him, because that would mean someone else would have to do it. But
I think you have to be prepared to, right? Because otherwise, it'd be a colossal whiff.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to lose them. Yeah, I just like it because you got to go big with this thing. And this wouldn't even be the TP. You could still make marginal changes while adding a big-time player in him. This would effectively be the Cantor TP that brings Collins in. So I don't know what necessarily the trade would be. We'll hash that out down the line and keep talking about it in a Friday when these teams play again. Like $5 million, $6 million.
It is interesting when you think about the double.
You don't even touch the TP.
It is interesting when you think about the double dip there.
Yeah, a couple bench guys and then a star player in Collins. That's getting you multiple pieces that you need.
Yeah, or if you just say see you later to the luxury tax and go use the TPE for Vucevic and use the Cantor exception for Collins and say, all right, that's our team. Again, it'd be nice if you had players who weren't Nesmith and Romeo.
Well, the other thing was this: you have to hope that there's. You have to hope there's not a lot of competition for him, because
there will be.
I can't imagine you could put together the best package if the Hawks are dead set on getting rid of him, which it sounds like they probably aren't going to re-sign him, right? So it sounds like they're going to probably want to trade him.
Now that's where Vucevic is more preferable as someone with a big salary, because you're one of the few teams that can absorb it. It's easy for any team in the league to match Collins' money.
Of course.
Right, and they've got better assets.
Are you in on him, Josue? What were your thoughts on him tonight?
And
that's what I'm trying to get to.
It only makes sense to get blown away if you're Atlanta for something, because otherwise, what do you say? Otherwise, just let him walk for $5 million. It's not a big deal there, right?
You don't want to lose him for nothing.
Control your destiny to some extent. You can obviously re-sign him if you want to re-sign him. I think you need something real in return. But Josue, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just Bob was just asking me what I thought about him overall. Yeah, he looked good today. I mean, obviously he presented problems for the Celtics. I just don't know if you're giving up like John said, like that could be it, you know. And I'm not sure the Celtics have enough for it. I mean, obviously if you're not touching the TPE, if you're not giving up a combination of Pritchard, Rob Williams, or 2 out of the 4, you know, that young core or that young group. Is that enough to get it done? I mean, sure, if that's enough, you know, I just worry that something's going to have buyer's remorse in a couple of years, you know, or a year.
I am too. So that's why you do it now.
Oh, it's impossible for Josue to make it through a show. He just falls off.
Every time he gets passionate, he gets booted.
Damn it.
You should at least swear on your way out.
No, before
you've never had a clean slate. You don't have one.
It's been an hour. It must be an hour. It's like that's the cutoff, man.
My lighting's looking better here. The sun's
coming
coming
down. You pay for your Wi-Fi hourly? Did you have to put more coins in it?
I think it's a day. The daytime is flawless.
The meter ran out.
He puts coins in his router.
me and Kendrick Perkins. All right, we got the same setup.
Hey, he's my last point before I get out of here, guys. He's active. Yeah. He moves. He's physical. He's something that will get this moving a little bit and have some upward trajectory. Be here long term and be a piece that moves the needle. Like I wanted to do something big with the flexibility that they have right now. And all this talk of JJ Redick and Thad Young and just these band-aids that aren't going to change too much.
I'm going to kill myself if that happens.
Oh, it'd be a disaster, and it wouldn't change anything.
Well, it's exactly.
It'll change nothing.
That's a different type of acquirement if you go that route, because you're getting a young guy who you expect to be on the team for years to come through the prime of his career, right? So that's different than bringing in like a veteran, you know, almost a freaking buyout type candidate guy.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. You let all these long-term pieces go, so now you need to fill them up with long-term pieces, not one-year rentals or Band-Aids or things to help out and cover this up a little bit. Now, I don't think they need a ton of changes to get this going in the right direction, but they need some, and I want those changes to be long-term moves rather than something to go all in on this year, because we're still not seeing, regardless of what we think of the role players here and the impact they're having on it, we're not seeing the star-let players on this team make statements that they're ready to push this to a championship level either. You know, you got to add pieces around them that are going to help this grow into the years to come. And this year's weird anyway. Who knows what could happen into the stretch run here? Like, there's got to be some level of sustainability to the moves they make this year.